It's paper review time, and once again, we need to talk about Jose. The man who shares the same deep aversion to the limelight as Jordan and Corden, but whom we can't get away from all the same, because he's had another of those weeks. Now, you recall how the press had slaughtered José Mourinho a week ago for Real Madrid's cowardly showing in the Copa del Rey semi-final at home to Barcelona. The Copa del Rey, a bit like Lana, but slightly less hysterically hyped. After that, anyway, it was one problem after another. First of all, his own players started having a go, and it got leaked to the press. So we got headlines like this: "In your face, Mou rowing on the training ground with Sergio Ramos, who tells him, 'Mister, since you weren't a player, there's things you just don't understand.' Nico Casillas pitching in as well. And then he got whistled in Sunday's game at the Bernabeu. And then, double exclamation mark, his careless slip to a friend with a notepad that, 'Actually, I'm thinking of leaving come June because I don't like it here anymore,' completely failed to impress the Prensa, largely on the basis, as As pointed out, that they'd heard exactly the same things 12 months ago when he wanted to get rid of Jorge Valdanas. 'One nail pushes out another,' says As. He's fighting one leak with another leak. And their headline there, 'Mr. Essential wants some attention.' Inside, their columnist Alfredo Rolano particularly piqued by the whole business. Mou, he says, is like that Captain Schettino, the allegedly fair-weather sea captain, famous for sailing an expensive white colossus onto the rocks. Don't get the connection myself, but anyway, he explains, this Madrid side was cruising, but now everything's wrecked, all because Mou's ego was suffering. He is, like Schettino, wanting to jump ship. I think the comparison's a little bit unfair to him. Schettino tripped after all. Well, anyway, all this was followed by Wednesday's visit to the new camp, in which Mou's side drew 2-2 and went out of the cup, but finally outplayed Barca. Far from hailing Mou's achievement, though, the papers have only gone and called it a lesson for him. Poor chap can't win. Against Barcelona, anyway. Here's marker. You had them knocked out. Why didn't you do this last time, too? And As, you see, when you pick the right players, you can beat them. The question is why Mou didn't do that at the Bernabeu, too. Well, it was Jose's birthday by the time the game ended, which the man who will surely one day be hailed as the Vincenzo Salieri of the Spanish Liga celebrated in real style by going to the stadium car park on his own and hanging around by the referee's car so that when he turned up sometime later, he could tell him, "On your way, genius, you take pleasure in screwing us professionals." There's the picture. Caption, "5 at a mighty car, mister." Now, moving along, what else we got this week? Well, how about another Portuguese football legend, a real one? This time, Eusebio. The Black Pearl, they called him, the not embarrassing Pele, the legend, the king, who, as Bola was celebrating this week, actually turned 70 years of age this Wednesday. 745 competitive games he played, scoring 733 goals. Those numbers again, 733 goals in 745 games. Here he is, raising a glass anyway and saying, "I was just a footballer. I never thought I'd make it to this age." Well, jolly glad he did, and best wishes to ahoy. Now let's move on anyway to Italy to finish off with two more golden oldies, Francesco Totti and Alessandro Del Piero. Ask your parents. Well, this week, Del Piero, who's 37, proved he still has it in Tuesday night's cup game with Roma, making his way upfield towards Roma's goal and unleashing at last his first goal of the season. A fine strike a la Del Piero, curling into the top right corner. The game had been over for some hours by this point and everyone else had gone home, but still, "Alex, you're a legend," says the Corriere dello Sport. There he is with his tongue out and trademark style, and I must say, rare indeed to see a Juventus skipper hailed thus for a victory over the Giallorossi in a Roman paper. His opposite number, Totti, meanwhile, on the losing side in that game, but on Saturday, Francesco himself had grabbed a brace and possibly a walking stick in Roma's 5-1 win over Cesena, after which he airily announced he was thinking of rejoining the national side just in time for the Euros. Again. Yeah, Francesco actually retired from the Azzurri way back in 2007, but that hasn't stopped him from making these kind of noises every time a tournament comes around. And each time, of course, the Italy manager says, "Of course you are," and puts the rug back over his knees. Well, long may that continue as well. That brings us to the end of a rather short news roundup for this week. We'll be back, though, in 7 days' time with more top continental headlines, so make sure you join us then.